Okay, good afternoon. This video might be a little bit of a longer one. This is, as promised, the video based on the post from last week, and it might be a little bit of a longer one, but if you were a part of this, you might want to hang tight. So I wanted to address this post just because it got so many people kind of, I would say aroused. I would use the word aroused emotionally anyway. It kind of evoked some emotions. I had a lot of messages coming through after that post. And first I want to go ahead and start with what the post was. It was a post that I put out about how if you're a queen, you don't need a crown, you need to be asking for a sword. I said, I don't need a crown, I need a sword. A queen phrase and title is popular these days. If you want to be a queen, how about we take our crowns off and pick up a sword and fight for something we believe in? No one benefits from you wearing a tiara, but everyone does when you put your God-given strengths to use by finding what you were put here to do and to be. So the follow-up to that, and here's what I want to preface this by no means is this video going to be about a specific person or a specific thing that somebody was said. We are not going to highlight any negative. We're actually just going to bring light to and learn what this experience is supposed to be teaching us. So that being said, it does need to be noted what it was that evoked the emotions, and I'll post that over here on the side in a moment. But this post was actually in regards to mission. So what I was referring to is, so here's the thing. Right now, we're in a time in our lives, in our history, where there's a lot of things to fight for, and I think the focus has been off of that, and a lot of us, men and women included, it's time for us to rise up and actually figure out what we're fighting for and figure out our purpose in that and what role that we play. This is where that came from. However, it was taken as a means to, as the feminine masculine, right? Those feminine and masculine energies. So the comment that had been made was basically, so you want a feminine man because you can't have two masculine energies. There has to be polarity. And let me just break this down. I agree completely. There has to be, in a relationship sense, there has to be polarity, which means feminine and masculine. Here's what I think the issue with that comment is. And it's not a person, it's not a bad, it's not a negative. It's just that it did evoke a lot of people in wanting to jump on this, rightfully so, because I think the misunderstanding that feminine does not equal strong was insinuated in this. And I think that's what, if I'm guessing, for everybody who got amped up about this, and you guys feel free to put in the comments if I'm off base on this. But the preface was that feminine is not strong. And I think this is a misconception. I think that from my experience and in my belief, that strong does not mean masculine, and feminine does not mean weak. Feminine does not mean submissive. And here's the thing, to each their own. I know for me, I'm very feminine, but I'm a very strong personality. I'm very clear on what I want, what I'm doing, where I'm going, and what I like, what I don't like, and what I will fight for, what I will tolerate. It's very clear. And it's going to take, if I'm going to be with somebody, it's going to take a very strong masculine male to bring out that subtle and the softness in me. I'm very aware of that. And that's not going to be for everyone. I'm very aware that it's going to have to be a unique fit. I'm okay with that. That does not make it right or wrong. There's different levels of feminine. There's different types of feminine. There's different levels and types of masculine. However, I think the main issue with this, and the reason I waited so long to make this post, is so that I can get reign of my emotions and figure out what they were trying to tell me, which is what I encourage all of you to do as well. So if this evoked you, if it got you riled up, figure out why. What about this situation is making you upset? Because for me, I think it was the misconception that feminine doesn't equal strong. Feminine is very strong. Feminine is fierce. It can be. It can also be subtle and nurturing and all of these things. But nurturing doesn't mean weak. If you go out in the wild and you see a mama bear and something is threatening her cubs, you better believe she is going to fight till the death for her cubs. That's feminine. That's fierce. That's strong. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that she's going to be, hunting. Feminine strong doesn't mean hunting, gathering, protecting, doing all these things. That's where the masculine comes in. But if you have a strong masculine, then that strong masculine is going to allow the feminine to be strong in her own way because he doesn't feel threatened. He knows he's got it. He's holding it down in his own way, and she can be vulnerable and safe enough to let that out. It's when the feminine doesn't feel safe that she brings her masculine side to the table. And here's where I want to go with this now. And maybe some of you might not agree with me, and especially men, but what I'm finding is more and more in this society is you're having more feminine males be present, which in turn is causing females to turn on their masculine more. And this is causing a shift. And if you feel like, if you're a man and you consider yourself a masculine man and you feel threatened by a female, maybe it means that you're just not being masculine enough for that female. That's fine. That doesn't mean that certain levels, for instance, myself, is what this post was insinuating, that I'm a masculine female. I'm not. I'm very far from it. I'm very feminine. I just am very strong in my values, my belief systems, and my purpose, and I will not stop. I'm not going to turn that down for anybody. It's going to take a very masculine and strong and certain man in his own right in order to complement that well, in order for somebody like myself or another strong feminine who's very clear on that as well, to feel safe enough to let that femininity out. That doesn't mean weakness, though. Feminine doesn't equal weakness. Masculine doesn't equal strength. They are each weak in their own ways. They are each strong in their own ways. I know that I'm weak in many, many areas. I know that I'm strong in many, many areas. And if somebody feels that my feminine strength or fierceness is threatening to them, to me, that simply means that we're not a good fit. Again, I want to circle back. This post was not about relationship. However, it did bring up a very good point, and I think this was a great discussion point. For me, this upset me because you're basically saying feminine doesn't equal strong, and that's so false. All the feminine characters or females of influence are extremely strong. They are fierce, but they are still feminine. It is possible to be feminine and strong at the same time. And while different dynamics and personalities mesh better together, if you have a more, I'm not even going to say dominating, because if your feminine presence is extremely strong and certain, you're going to need an extremely strong and certain masculine presence. Vice versa. If you are a masculine man and you desire your feminine to be submissive and weak, then I would say that's a character issue, not a masculine feminine issue. That means that you have a control issue, not a strength or polarity issue. Polarity happens when there is a strong feminine energy and a strong masculine energy. And those two create a synergy in a whirlwind that there's chemistry created that it almost can't be stopped because of how polar it is. But those characteristics can be similar in nature, just with the opposite energy. If that's making sense, hopefully somebody can comment below, because I'm going off on a little rant on this. I just think it's important to, when things like this happen, so here's the thing, this was done on my post. I'm not upset. I was upset at first, but not because somebody was posting that they disagree with me on my post. I was upset because I'm like, that's so not true. Like, why are you even saying that feminine energy can't be strong, or let alone that no wonder I'm not led by anyone. you're darn right. I did respond to this. I am led by somebody, and that's Jesus Christ, the Most High. And that's the first male that I need in my life. Thank you very much. The second male that comes into my life is going to need to be extremely strong in his values and his purpose, and be purpose-driven, and be able to support a woman who knows what she wants as well. That's why I'm very clear, and that's why I'm very unthreatened by your comments, sir, that I'm not led by anybody right now. And that is completely fine with me, because I would rather wait for a strong masculine to be able to lead me than to put myself in position with a masculine who just wants me to be weak and submissive so that they can control the outcomes, or that they can use me as a support in what they want to do. No, no, no. I've been there, and I will never put myself back in that position again. So that's why it upset me. And I encourage, the reason I wanted to make this post is to not to take a one thing that a negative person says and to shift our focus onto what this person was saying. More so is, let's look at this as a macro level to say, what about this situation is causing me to be upset? Because that right there triggers you to your values and your identity, and then hopefully shifting you towards some type of purpose in that. I know for me, what it highlighted to me is that I value my feminine nature. I value the strength, and I value all feminine finding that in themselves, because I think way too often us females feel like we are supposed to do what we're told, and that goes for media, men, the news, that we're just supposed to do what we're told, and to not think for ourselves, and to not have a place to put ourselves in an empowering position. And that to me is huge. It's huge, 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 because women are a pivotal and important part of our society. As a matter of fact, we have the potential to change culture. And I think if more women rose up, or at least felt empowered to, maybe by their men, if you could empower your women more, we might have a better balanced system in society. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. You're welcome to have your own. And you're welcome to have your own on polarity and masculine and feminine. All I know is that female does not equal weak. Masculine does not equal strong. They are both weak. They are both strong. That's why we need both. Because in the areas that the masculine is weak, the feminine is strong. And the areas that the feminine is weak, the masculine is strong. And that is why we are designed to be together as man, woman, masculine, feminine. That's also why we all have both of those energies in us. It's just which is the dominating one. And that's how you get good polarity, is when you have the opposing dominating forces come together in a synergistic way to create a whole being that then empowers both of those individuals to go forth in the world, to create an impact, and to make a difference. So that was the longest video that I've ever done. That's why I had the headphones on and this whole setup going, because this is kind of going to be like my first mock podcast. We'll have more discussions like this later. I'm going to have some more people on, guests, interviews, co-hosts, but we'll keep diving into subjects like this, because this was kind of the first taste of, no, we're not going to just let this go by. I want to address it, and I also want to encourage everybody that when emotions like this happen, and when you get riled up, don't focus on the negative, channel it, use what you're learning, and then go focus on the positive. And that's what I've done, and I think it actually redirected some of my purpose towards uplifting women specifically in this area to find their purpose, find their voice, and then have the courage to speak out and do it. So it was a very beneficial experience. I think it was very useful, and I hope that you guys would kind of comment and give me your dialogue about, what did you learn from this? What did it tell you about yourself, about your value systems, about your beliefs, about your maybe what you will and won't tolerate anymore going forward? But all of these emotions are put there for us to learn and to grow about ourselves, but also about others in the world around us. So that's what I wanted to encourage us to focus on through this experience, and not to let, comments of somebody sitting behind a screen who might not even have the courage to say it to your face get to you. So thank you, sir, for putting that, because you really, really did shift my mindset towards what I want. And actually, it just made me double down on the fact that I really do want a strong, masculine man who's going to complement all those things and make me feel safe to bring my feminine out. And that may not be for everyone. I understand that. But it is for one, and he'll come along, and I'm willing to wait for that. In the meantime, I'm going to continue my course, my purpose, my strength, my fierceness, because you know what? I'm fulfilled here, and I'm making a difference in people's lives, hopefully. I think a lot of my crew would say that I am, but that's what I care about, and everything else will fall in line from that. And I hope, sir, that you find a woman who's feminine for you, and that you guys are a good match. Until next time, guys, if thanks for sticking with me if you've stuck this long through the video. I know it was a longer one, but it's kind of like a podcast. But I thought it was important to go through this in a more candid setting, and just thanks for letting me vent and spew and go off on my tangents. Okay, so if you had your different take, or if you learned something from this experience, shoot in the comments below. Share the video if somebody missed it who was a part of this whole escapade. And until next time, the next video will be actually based upon request from Michelle on PTSD and depression and sadness, and how exercise and fitness can actually change and cure these symptoms. Okay, until next time, guys, as always, put comments and suggestions below, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you next time.